Pretty fair.
All right. That's what I always used to say with my clients. If you like it, I love it. Okay. I ain't buying the house. That's what you're doing. But if you like it, I love it. Let's write it up. Right. All right. Who wants to tell me some good news?
My brother's wife just delivered baby girl number 4 this morning.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yay!
A lot of estrogen in the house.
Oh God, I'm not getting into that. You remember that over 1/3 of families will buy between the year leading up to their birth and the year after their birth. So if you know of somebody that has just given birth and has not moved, there's a 33% chance that they will be moving in the next 1 year. Got it? Brian, guess what? We can get paid wherever they happen to live. Do they live locally?
No, but he knows that he needs to go through me, otherwise I'll kill him.
Make sure you remind him now.
Got it.
I got a lot of friends, well, sometimes unfortunately old friends who, quote, knew I was in the business, but they chose to work with somebody different. And more than half of the time they come back, hey, will you help me? Why isn't my home selling? Okay. I'll get
I
off
got some good news.
All right, Tawantis, go ahead.
I did. So yesterday confirmed a closing on yesterday, and I had
Nice.
3 for the month. So I'm very excited about the
Man.
productivity for the month. Yeah.
He's on fire.
Yeah, that was exciting. So
On fire. We've got a little. When are we doing our little thing? Aren't we supposed to do a little video together again?
yes, you got to just send me your time. I'm
All
ready
right, I'm
today.
gonna do that
actually, if you want.
today.
Okay.
We're doing a little video today because, man, I tell you, you're on fire since coming to KW.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll hop into all the things I want to chat about. Who else?
Somebody just called me this morning, and their house has been on the market for 3 months, and they want me to take it over from their broker.
Okay.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
All right. Guess why the reason that home's been on the market for 3 months?
Huh?
Overpriced.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I got some good news.
make sure that's a part of the dialogue right off the bat, okay?
Okay. Yep.
You don't have to tell them, hey, your home has obviously been overpriced, or you wouldn't be calling me. You can ask the questions that are like, so tell me a little bit about the activity, right?
Yeah.
What type of marketing has your agent been doing? Has your agent been doing open houses? You know, what type of feedback are you getting on the showings? Are you getting showings, right? Questions like, what do you wish your agent had done? You almost treat it like an expired listing.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Because what you're trying to do is figure out what went right and what did not go right, right? So that you're in position to fix all the problems that occurred and double down on the things that they enjoyed as part of the experience, right? So if they're like, my agent wouldn't do any open houses, and I swear that selling the home is going to be easier if you do an open house, well, guess what? You got to do some open houses, right? But if they're like, you know, gosh, I see all these houses selling around me, but I just don't know why. Say, you know, what kind of feedback did you get on the price, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's another way of saying, I know your house is overpriced, yet I want you to be the one to vocalize.
To say it right. Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep. Got it. Uh-huh.
All right, congratulations. Be careful.
Thank you.
Don't cross that sign. Make sure that
Right.
that deal ends and then they list with you. Don't you have to be super careful in this kind of gray area where she's in a relationship, yet she wants to leave the relationship and you're going to take over. You see what I'm saying? You don't want there to be any speculation whatsoever that you cross the sign. Crossing a sign is basically when the buyer, the seller has a relationship with one brokerage and you're coming in and courting that person. Okay.
Is all they have to do is
business.
all they have to do is just notify them that they're, I mean, how do I get confirmation that they've ended that relationship?
you have an executed termination contract that she sends you.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And then the home needs, and as part of that in writing notice, she needs to say, and I'd like this property removed from the multiple listing service by such and such date.
Okay.
Right.
Got
So
it.
there's no confusion, because if an agent is going to, especially in this market, if an agent is, you know, if she or he's got to do some paperwork to remove the opportunity to get paid, guess where that is on the list of priorities? About as
Right.
low as it can possibly get. Right. I think I'll actually make some FISBO calls today before I do that.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Okay. Last week we talked about getting organized on your listing presentations and your buyer presentations. Who wants to share with me what type of work they did on that, or what the status of those projects are? It's okay. I don't expect them both to be perfect, but tell me what kind of progress we made. Did anyone take a look at theirs? Okay, Markia, tell us about what you did.
Well, I got on the call later. Are you just talking about progress just as far as the business period?
No, well, you can, if you have some good news you want to share, by all means, but I was specifically talking about getting your listing presentations and your buyer presentations in order and practiced so that you have confidence if you get called and you have to deliver something quickly.
Okay, I haven't done the buyer's presentation yet.
Okay, do you want to share some good news?
Yes, I actually was talking to a lot of people. I was up to like midnight last night doing a lot of work to make sure that I was handling business. So I finally got my listing agreement signed, and
Nice.
I got a buyer brokerage agreement signed yesterday as well too. I'm working on another buyer brokerage agreement to be signed today, and I have a couple of people, actually 2 people who I'm helping find rentals for. So I've
Man,
been busy.
you're on fire too. Keller Williams makes people get on fire, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you guys, don't down on the renters now. If it wasn't for
Right.
renters, I would not be sitting in this seat. I worked more renters than anyone in the building combined, I bet. Okay. Kathy, you remember those days probably, right? Whew. You're on mute.
I do. Yep.
Hey, it's Pam's on the call, right? I thought I let her in. Pam certainly remembers those days. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did anybody take any steps towards improving or getting more confidence around their listing presentation and or their buyer presentation?
I did.
All right, Marie, tell us what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I took the buyer presentation, I went through all of the pages in it and selected ones that were more relevant for my personal situation and used someone I know that will be looking to buy in the next few weeks as soon as she has confirmation that she will still have a job in the next year. So I was tailoring it to her personally because I know a little bit about what she's looking for and started working on that. Obviously, being brand new, there's a lot of content in there that's not relevant to my situation. So I was trying to pare that down and personalize it.
Are you referring to like all the statistics and stuff?
Yeah.
So take the,
but I mean, I know I can
Market
use
Center
the Market
statistics.
Center stuff too for that, but yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, take the Market Center statistics. That can replace the page that talks about, you know, I sell homes for X percentage of list price. And then when it talks about your resume, right? Your resume doesn't necessarily have to be your real estate resume, right? Your resume could be it's your professional experience, right? Have you worked for corporations in the past? You know, have you been in customer service before? Have you ever been in any type of, you know, do you do anything like, you know, run the Girl Scouts, you know, local group or something like that? I mean, for crying out loud, if you're a mother or a father, put it on there, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to somebody who's, they always say, well, I was just a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. Well, damn, you had the hardest job in town. Put it on there.
Yeah.
Right.
And for this particular buyer, I mean, it's the sister principal of a school where I'm the president of the PTO, so she knows. She
Oh
knows
my
me.
gosh.
She knows me pretty well in that regard
You
too.
should be a
So
millionaire in 2021.
yeah, well, we have to have
One
people in
deal
school
first,
to have
right?
contacts with other parents for that to happen. We'll get there.
All right. That's definitely something we should talk one-on-one with to create a plan specifically around that.
Yeah.
All right, great. Anyone else take any specific steps with their presentations?
I did.
All right, Heather, tell us.
I'm kind of changing it up a little bit because I'm incorporating knock into my presentation because I like to do the expired and for sale by owners.
Yeah.
So I've been like working with Colleen and Enrique and just kind of like, I don't know, switching it up, but I still need to go back and like hammer out my original presentation, but I've kind of been focused on the knock one right now.
Okay. So I do want to keep in mind that
So-
the theory behind a presentation is almost the wrong word. Okay, because presentation makes it feel like you're selling, right? You're like, well, I've sold this and I did this and I can do this and I want to think about this, right? The better approach, in my opinion, is to go in there with that stuff as a resume and then just ask them questions about what they want, right? Teach them about how to be successful in today's environment based on the current market trends, the current market statistics, these kind of things, right? And programs like Knock and Keller Offers and these kind of things. But the meat of the meeting is asking them questions like, what is most important to you about working with a real estate agent? How will I win as your real estate agent? How will I win with you? As your real estate agent, that's assumptive, right? It's future pacing. As your real estate agent, how would I lose with you, right? What would I have to do for you to say, oh my gosh, this ain't working, right? I want to know that off the top. You know, if let's say the person doesn't want to be called before a certain time or after a certain time, or maybe the person doesn't want you to, you know, cuss or something, right? If they'll vocalize that to you, then that's gold. You gotta remember that stuff. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
One thing, Marie, and I forgot to say this before, and hopefully everyone will benefit from this, is as much as possible, you want the presentation to be vague enough to be able to deliver it to anyone at any time on quick notice, right? So for a seller, for example, you may have one sheet that you go in and say, prepared specifically for Marge and John Smith, right? But the rest of the presentation could be delivered to anybody. Does that make sense? That'll save you a lot of time. Oh, and by the way, when it says testimonials, your testimonials don't have to be, you know, Marie was the best buyer's agent for me. She helped us find the home. It could be, you know, something from a former job that says Marie was always punctual. She took, you know, great care with us. She was super patient. You know, we would love to work with Marie again. It doesn't have to be about selling homes. Make sense?
Yeah, sorry,
thoughts?
I was on mute.
What's that, Heather?
I said yeah, but I was on mute, so you couldn't hear me. I forgot I was on mute.
Oh, what was the last thing you said?
I was just said yeah. I was like saying yeah to what you said.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to do a little something different today, just for a couple moments. I want to, we have 2 days left in the month of September, okay? 2 days left in the month of September. And if you guys are on track, like I think you are, we will set records in hours of time lead generated, hours of practicing, probably not contacts, but maybe if y'all push real hard, we'll probably do it. Database ads, we're really close. We will surpass the record for appointments set and appointments held. We will surpass the record possibly for listings taken, and we've already crushed the records for contracts written and pendings. Okay, so I just want to take a moment to congratulate you on that stuff. You guys have been putting in extra work, and I can tell, and I'm super, super proud of you. Okay.
I didn't hear it till you were congratulating.
I was congratulating the entire group.
Oh,
The entire group, because we are setting records in over half of the things that we track. So your extra effort and your work is not going unrecognized. So thank you. Okay. Remember, tomorrow we're going to report the final the final week of reporting will be tomorrow night. So if you're not caught up, please catch up, and we should be setting some pretty awesome records. I'm excited to see how that last week goes. Okay, I'm also going to do, I'm going to throw out this now, and then later on this week, we'll kind of fine tune this a little bit. But we're also, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we're going to enter into the 4th quarter of the year. Okay, and I'll tell you what generally happens with real estate agents in the 4th quarter of the year. Yet I know that this is not going to happen with you. Okay, what ends up happening is they're exhausted from working hard all year. The holidays are approaching, right? It's almost Halloween, it's almost Thanksgiving, you know, Christmas music's in the stores, and they basically take off the last quarter of the year. And then what happens is they finally get back to work around the 1st week in January, or maybe the 2nd or 3rd week in January, and they wonder why they got no business coming up in the spring. And it's because they took off the last quarter of the year. So while the average real estate agent is not working all that hard over the course of the next 3 months, my
Excuse me,
challenge.
though.
What's that?
Excuse me, but I can attest to that 2 years running. So you guys pay attention to what Bill's telling you.
Jan.
me too.
Okay, we're gonna take a pause for a second. Jan, give us like 30 seconds of what you're talking about. Kathy, you're next.
Well, I'll just speak to this past year. I left last October. I went to England. I spent 2 weeks in England. I came back. I worked a little bit, but I was really sick. So basically another month went by, and then it was Thanksgiving, and I made all these excuses why I couldn't work in December. And I really didn't get started again working until the 1st week of January. Well, I really didn't get my business ramped back up until June. So, I mean, it really hurt me by not working the last 3 months of last year. It hurt the first 6 months of this year.
Wow. Kathy, share what you're talking about.
Okay, so I shared the week of night account about my dad dying, and I got in a funk. And so I think I had 2 closings in November and December. 1 in November, 1 in December. I didn't have another closing scheduled until I think March the 16th, and the week before it fell apart. So I didn't work. I didn't have closings. So if you don't work, you're not going to have closings. And it is fun to think, oh, I'm going to do this for, spend so much time getting my house ready for my family, for holidays. You still have to work. If you don't work, you don't have money.
Right. That's right.
And that's sad when you don't have.
Quite honestly, these are the top 2 producers on the call today, right? So these are people with databases that are systematically communicated with, and that, as you get more and more experienced in the business, you'll find that every once in a while you get a come list me or I'm ready to buy call, right? That just kind of falls out of the sky. Well, this is with people with pretty developed businesses, right? 6-figure earners. What happens if you don't have that type of what's the word I'm looking for? Like safety net, if you will, right? So I'm going to encourage you guys, please. It will be very easy to not work over the course of the next 3 months. If you push it right now, you're going to be gaining mind share and market share over your competition. Okay. And I am just starting to write a little kind of 90-day 135 for each of you. And it's going to be sufficiently vague that you can take advantage of it as a brand new agent or as an agent that has been in the business forever, to make sure that the most important things are treated that way. Okay. My 3 so far are skills/presentations, database/tech, and pipeline/appointments. Okay. Now, many of you guys have seen the video or were present the day that I did the video on pipeline. And this is what this is a message that I want you to hear really, really clearly. Okay. Now, every one of you, I've done a MREA2 goal sheet with, right? So you should know what are the number of appointments that I need to go on each year and each month in order to hit my goals, right? What are the number of people I need to communicate with each day so that I can be on track to hit my goals, right? One of the things that I recommended was you take the number of units, the number of homes that you want to sell in the next 12 months, let's just say it's 15. Okay, you triple that number, 45, and that is the number of people that you should have in your pipeline by the end of the year. Okay, so we have 2 days plus 3 months to get that job done. So if that is the result that we're after, all the other stuff prior to that, right? The scripts, the presentations, the lead gen, the contacts, the database ads, all that will take care of itself. Okay. Now we have a lot of people on this call that have big goals, right? Yet when you look at their pipeline, it's not in alignment with their goals. So if somebody wants to sell 15 homes in the year of 2021, I'm going to recommend that you start the year with 3 times that number of people in your pipeline. Now let's talk about what a pipeline is for a second. A pipeline is it's kind of a snapshot of your database. It is not the database. It is a separate tool altogether. Okay, and it's very simple. You put the rank, the name, and the telephone number and notes. Very simple. And I only put the telephone number on there to make it simple so you don't have to go look it up. Okay. What I suggested in that video is you take everyone that wants to buy, that you expect to buy or sell in the next 60 days, call them a 10. In day 60 through 120, you call them a 9. 120 to 180 days, right? You call them a 8. And 180 days to the end of the year, 365 days, you call them a 7. So if you would hope, if there is a chance that you could get paid by helping this person buy, sell, or invest in real estate, they belong in your pipeline with a little note on what your next promise is to that person with their rank. And everyone will say, well, can I do it electronically? The problem with electronically is if you want to not look at it, you cannot look at it. Okay, it could get hidden away in some Google Drive. I want it to be visual where you see it every single day. Okay, so if my camera is here, I want that thing right there so I can have a reality check every day. Hey, I want to sell 15 homes next year so I can get out of debt, send my kid to college, and make a donation to charity. However, I got 4 people on my pipeline. So what do I need to do today? I better go add somebody to my pipeline or I'm going to starve. Make sense? So that is going to be one of my biggest challenges to you. I really issued this challenge over 2 months ago to give you plenty of time, but now you have a whole quarter to make it done. So take the number of units that you'd like to sell in 2021, triple it, and that should be the number of people that you aim to have in your pipeline before the end of the year. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Yes, Bill, for that formula, can you just put that also in the chat real quick? I just want to jot everything, make sure I'm jotting everything down and don't miss your formulas that we need to use today.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, there you go. Number of units you'd like to sell in 2021, multiply it by 3. That should be the number of people in your pipeline. So if you want to sell 30 units in 2021, you got to have a lot of people in your pipeline. Okay. Does anyone want to ask any questions on that? Anyone unclear about anything? Okay.
You know, should those be like warm leads or just like people you talk to? Like, what kind of leads should these be to, I guess,
Good
accurately
question. So
have those?
I would call these people, another way of putting another title that you might hear in the industry is called nurtures. Okay. But so nurtures are people that do not have a relationship with another real estate agent. Right. So this is the threshold in which you should be determining whether they go in your pipeline or not. Okay. They do not have a real estate relationship with somebody else. Right. Another way of saying that is, are you married to a real estate agent? Yes, you're not on the pipeline. Are you not married to a real estate agent? Yes, you're on the pipeline. Because we know that 91% of the time, when a buyer or seller claims that they have a loyalty to an agent, they're going to work with somebody else next time anyway. So unless they're an agent or they're married to one, and sometimes even if they're married to one, they go on the pipeline. Okay. Now, they need to have a definitive goal, right? I want to move because the house is too big, house is too small, it's in the wrong school district, and it's in the wrong city, whatever it may be. They have to have a definitive goal. They have to have a motivation, right? Beyond that, it's really a matter of, do you feel a connection? Like, did you make a promise to them? Are they expecting something from you? Like, hey, I'll connect you with a lender. Hey, in 2 months, I'll call you to set up a search, right? Is there any like follow-up promise? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and if you're like overthinking it, hey, does this person go on the pipeline? I'd put them on there. Okay.
So, like in Command, is it like a certain? I'm not really familiar with Command yet, but can you label certain people?
It's very similar, or it basically is the opportunities option. Okay. The only reason why I tell you to have it as a separate document is because you'll be forced to look at it. Right. Sometimes we have a tendency to avoid what we don't want to recognize. Right. That's like, why wouldn't you just report your numbers? Well, if you had 3 listing appointments and you took 2 of them and you made 100 contacts, you'd be the very first person to report your numbers. Right. And then you'd tell the whole room. If you don't report your numbers, it's not because they're great, most likely. No judgment. I'm just saying, I want you to, whether the number is 0 or the number is 100, I just want you to have an awareness about what the number is. Make sense? It's kind of like if you go to the doctor and you don't feel well, do you want the doctor to tell you what's wrong with you, or do you want the doctor to lie to you? Is there anyone that would prefer the doctor not tell you what's going on? You guys are so quiet today. Even the ones that are so eager to talk most of the time, I don't hear from you. I'm looking for people to.
It's the weather.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do one quick lesson on objection handling, so you guys that came specifically for that will not feel like your half hour was wasted. Very quickly, first one to say something. What objection have you been stumped by this week, or want to learn a little bit more about how to get better at?
Go, Julian.
You're on mute, Julian.
Still, I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
So, as you know, I was saying that I was working with renters. But if a renter say that like their price point is $1,400, and then you mentioned something about purchasing or whatever, and it's kind of like, oh, I haven't thought about that. I just want to find a rental or so, but you're not really trying to step on toes and be like, hey, well, you can afford a $200,000 house, for $1,400 a month. It's like that obstacle that you come across with, no, I want you to help me find a rental versus me renting and really just trying to figure out what the issue is.
Yeah, great question. So that comes, in my opinion, with the educational kind of approach, right? So if they say, hey, I'm looking to rent a place for $1,400 a month, I would say, look, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. Have you ever considered purchasing? Right? very simple. And they will say, yes, but I don't have enough down payment, or yes, but my credit score is this, or yes, but I didn't realize that it was possible. Or they'll say, I'm never buying, so don't ask me about it again. They probably won't say that, right? But right away, you'll figure out what their big beef is, right? And the more you know about ways to overcome those types of challenges, the faster you'll be able to build rapport. So for example, are you fluent in down payment assistance programs? Are you fluent in, if somebody has a mortgage, if somebody's going to make a housing payment of $1,400, what, based on today's current rates, what would the sales price be that they would be matched up with? Let's say for a FHA loan or something, right? So the question would be, rather than paying $1,400 a month in rent, did you know that you could pay $1,400 in mortgage payment, including taxes and insurance, and own a $225,000 home? Did you have any idea about that? And they'll say, can you tell me more? Say, excellent. Let me, part of my job is educating the consumer on their options. Okay, you want to rent, fine. You want to buy, fine. But this is the affordability has never been better. Okay, so would you just do me a quick favor? And if you decide to rent, I want it to be because you've explored all of your options and you've determined that renting makes the most sense for you. If you decide to buy, I want it to be because you've explored all options and you've determined that buying makes the most sense for you. So how much research have you done about buying? Because you may be surprised at what you could afford. And they'll say, I haven't done any research. Is that something you can help me with? Say, absolutely. For no cost, no obligation, right? Let me connect you with my favorite mortgage person and we can explore what you might be able to buy. And they'll come back to us with, you can't buy because of this problem, and then we'll go fix that problem. Or they'll say, you can't buy, or you can buy, and this is the number, this is the price range that you can buy. And then I'll show you what matches that, and you can determine which one you'd rather have. So remember that you're on the same side of the table. It's not like I'm trying to turn a renter into a buyer so I can make more money. It's, I want people to know what their options are so I can help them build long-term wealth over time. Make sense? So if they decide to buy, great. Okay, they'll make wealth faster. If they decide to rent for any slew of reasons, whatever. At least I help. Now they know it. Now they know more than they knew before I got in touch with them, right? And by the way, I mean, gosh, Pam, maybe you could think about this number. I would venture to say that I probably put at least 200 renters into a rental, at least. Okay. And I would venture to say that 100 of them at least bought. Okay. Because they knew I didn't make anything the first time. And quite frankly, they probably gave me the business out of pity. But that check cashed too. Make sense?
Yeah, when I was first in the business, and trying to ramp up and make sure people knew I was an agent, I looked at the rental money as, it paid my office bill, some gas money, and it was helping me, I'll say, practice working with people.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was working on, home sale, having someone under contract for a home sale. And yeah, I've converted people who initially thought they were going to rent. I remember one couple, they couldn't rent because he had an eviction, during the downturn. But she could afford to buy a house without him on the contract. And so that's what they ended up doing. They bought instead.
Right. And sometimes it works the opposite way, or like what you just suggested, right? Hey, I've got 6 German Shepherds and a pit bull. I'd like to find a 1-bedroom condo for $600. You're like, have you ever thought about buying? Right? Like, you ain't gonna find a rental. So can we talk about buying, please? Right? And it's also like forced, like, previewing time, right? I saw more homes with renters than I ever saw with buyers. Make sense? And I learned the market that way. I don't know if I would have seen all that property if I didn't have anyone to go with me. You know what I mean? So, Markia, I know that was a very roundabout answer, but did you see how I turned the that question into an educational moment?
Yes.
Okay. Did that sound salesy at all to you?
No, but at that point, is that when you would bring over the, like say, hey, can I put together a buyer's presentation for you? Like, do you kind of go into that when you try to educate them? Could that be a moment where you use that?
Like at that stage, you don't need to like go into it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market, or, you know, here's, you know, the deal with multiple offers and here's what due diligence period is. Like, it's not time for that yet. Really,
Okay.
what goes first is the meeting with the lender to determine if it's viable.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you could say things like, you know, ultimately I'm compensated by the owner of the home that you pursue. That way you don't have to pay the commission. I can help you pursue any property that you want, whether it be listed by whoever or new construction or whatever. Like, you can give them some of the overarching concepts. There's no reason
And then
at this
also Home
stage.
Partners of America, you know.
Right. You say, hey, I've got some relationships with some companies that could do, you know, lease purchase options or that work with people just like yourself, right? So learn the opportunities in the marketplace, and you can share in a very kind of brief, overarching way, like, hey, I've got relationships with these people and these people and these people that can help you. But it's not necessarily time to like go into the super detailed stuff about, and the due diligence period is normally 7 to 10 days, and then after which we'll talk about like, it's not quite time for that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Today, do not forget that we're going to do a PC orientation. We haven't done one of these in a while, between 1 and 2 today. And that is going to be really what that's probably going to turn into, quite frankly, is a almost like a planning session. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about conversion rates. We're going to talk a little bit about your models and systems at the very beginning. And I want to make sure that everyone has access to all the tools that we have in productivity coaching. Remember that there's also from 2 to 3 today, a social media class. I'll send out the link today. That's from Georgia Legacy Group. Okay. And I think that everyone that had a session yesterday, I have now rescheduled. So don't forget, if you have a rescheduled session, please make sure that you come to it. So who else on this call? Markia, we're at 3 o'clock today. Heather Fowler, we're at 12:45. So let me know if you need anything in the meantime, and start thinking about what those year-end goals are. We're going to be talking about that over the next couple days, and get that cemented into your plan so that you can hit all of your year-end goals. Okay.
Yes.
All right, guys. Sorry, I took a day off and I got like 1,000 things brewing in my mind. So sorry that we're a little scattered today. Y'all have an awesome day. Okay.
Great. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye.